Oh, there were two lines. Where were there like double absolute value bars with vectors? Magnitude. Which you're thinking projection had magnitudes in it, maybe. Okay, so the double absolute value bars, yeah, that was magnitude, the how muchness, right? And then we saw that weird section 6.5, I think, which gave us complex numbers, a plus bi. We saw absolute values there, which was also magnitude. It was basically the Pythagorean theorem. And so now we see absolute values of these matrix guys. Like, okay. But what does this say, the absolute value? Like, if all three of these are notations of determinant, absolute value just means determinant. Now, I don't want you to say the absolute value, because sadly it's not. I don't think there's such a thing as the absolute value of a matrix or a purpose for it. A magnitude of a matrix, that's getting closer to the determinant, but the determinant is not so much the how muchness of the matrix. If I was to define a determinant, oh stink, I don't even know. It's like me trying to define a dot product. It's something that's really important and useful for matrix multiplication, or matrix, I should say, applications. Determinants are super helpful, like similar to the dot product and how useful it was to vectors. Because I showed you guys the dot product and I was like, okay, let's talk about the math, but then you can use it in all these different formulas. Let me show you a few. Determinants kind of like that. Like he is a key characteristic of matrices that can be used in all sorts of ways. The book gave him a whole section, which is ironic because we already talked about him last section, but we only talked about the easy ones. Easy ones are 2 by 2s. Because if I had a 2 by 2, the determinant is just the main and then the opposite, right? Off with the main minus the opposite, so it's not quite so weird. But anyway, the main minus the opposite. So when you guys come over here to do the determinants, you guys should be, to be honest, totally primed and ready to go. What is the determinant of A? 4 minus negative 3.
So it's 2.
Careful.
1.
Yeah?
I mean, why did I say 1?
Because Sophia
I
said it.
literally knew it was.
Peer pressure, it's a killer. Well, it depends. It depends on the peer, I suppose. Determinant of, hey, I'm just practicing with my different notations, yeah? Determinant of B. Does your calculator do it this way? Your calculator does it this way.
Yeah.
But remember, that's just because it puts the brackets around, whatever. It can be the same thing. I'm sorry, but you got 0, right?
Yeah.
Ooh, what does that mean this guy is?
No singular.
B is singular. AKA his inverse is impossible to find. And then what is, here's the third notation.
Oh, why did I put that?
I'm just practicing notations. You guys could have done the little absolute value for all the matrices, guys. Like, determinant, no, I don't want you to say absolute value. I know, I'm sorry. Some notations are used in multiple ways. You just have to keep an eye on the context. Oh, context, your Bible teachers would be proud. Bless you. Yeah, because some verses in the Bible you probably shouldn't just like be like, I'm gonna live my life by that.
I have no idea. We're going to go for
Killing giants.
I was thinking Jael and then the guy with the tent spike, or
yeah.
the tent spike through the guy's temple. Probably shouldn't go do that. But we have a determinant of A. You could have done that little determinant of B, determinant of C. I'm just practicing with notation, but what ends up happening with this one? Got him. So this guy, non-singular, aka he has an inverse. Great. This guy, singular. Okay. And this guy, non-singular. What does that mean? If I was supposed to find these guys' inverses, I'd say, sure, I can. Sure, I can. Nope, no solution, right? Yes, yes, no?
Yeah.
Saves me time, especially, well, wait a minute. What if I get to something bigger? Okay, hold on. So we need to talk about non-2 by 2s. We already talked about 2 by 2s. Main minus opposite. It's easy. Where's your phone? Yeah, school grade homework, but more towards the end of class. Keep an eye on the clock. Let me know when it's... Huh?
Test today?
Did I?
You got a test today?
Oh, yeah, I have them in the back. Ooh, then we should give ourselves a little extra time. Stop me at like 11:25. Who's good at watching the clock? Don't tell me that. Don't tell me that. Who's good at being a helper?
Go back to
I
making
just
the
want to
clock.
watch the clock.
Caitlin, fun for that.
Yeah, bro.
Okay,
Well,
Also, it's timer on my phone.
oh, that's illegal.
so what if we have a 1 by 1?
I want to see that.
How do you do main minus opposite of a 1 by 1? You don't. That only works for 2 by 2s. But guess what? 1 by 1s are easy. It's just whatever's there. 1 by 1s are easy. It's just whatever's there. So the determinant of a 1 by 1, check it. It's just the entry itself. That would be the determinant of A. Just the entry. That's it. That's easy. 3 by 3 or higher. Well,
Then it gets to kind of in general.
so here's the question. Do you guys want me to show you an alternate way of doing a 3 by 3 only that some will find easier and some won't really like anyway? And then showing you how to do a 4 by 4 beyond? Or would you rather me show you the general, the way that works for everybody, and then show you the extra way?
General.
General. Okay, so let's go general first, and then I'll show you the specific. Because the specific only works for 3 by 3, breaks down for everything higher, which is kind of sad. So it's kind of like main opposite, but a little bit different, but it only works for 3 by 3, so we'll go general. You're not going to like it. I'm going to zoom in on it. Actually, let me steal this. Let me move it over here so I can make it bigger, I think. Maybe. If I single page it, and if I make it like, yeah, I think that's bigger. Okay. How do we do a 3 by 3 or higher? You don't have to write down all the words. Let me show you the main idea. Then we just need to learn, basically, what this formula means. Here's the formula of how to find a determinant of any size matrix. Here's the formula for how to find the determinant of any size matrix. We're going to actually see why main minus opposite works for 2 by 2s. Because it technically works in this formula too. It's just a little bit weird as to how it works.
Jay, can you please bend your head down?
You might fall asleep if you just like.
What'd you say?
I said you might fall asleep if you put your head down.
Oh.
He's like in his zone though. He's like copying from his phone.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
He falls asleep when he like sits still. You guys hear that he's juggling a job, right? He didn't get home till 11 last night.
Jersey Mike's game. Do you work at the one in Port Ranch?
No.
Chatsworth?
Chatsworth.
Oh, Chatsworth.
It's a pig.
You know, we should always. So
Now
even though
he
the
works at
first
night.
row, like it never goes to the second row.
Say it one more time.
Because it goes from like A11
You get to choose.
A1N.
You get to choose. If you look at the words up above, Priyanka's bringing up a good point because she's like, wait a minute, you're using the first row. How does she know I'm using the first row? Well, doesn't this mean first row, first column, second column, first row, and like I'm going through the first row.
What if it's not a
This
square?
is one example. Oh, remember if it's not square, it doesn't have an inverse,
Oh right.
which means I wouldn't be finding a determinant. Good question though. I don't think we've actually mentioned how determinants are only of square matrices. I don't think I've said that. Coming back. Ready? Priyanka was asking about, okay, so what about the first row? And you might have been asking something more, Priyanka, but give me 1 second first. The determinant of a square matrix of any order is the sum of the entries in any row or column. They chose to write the first row, but they could have done the first column, the second row, the third column, the fifth row. They could have chosen any row or any column, which is really nice. Because sometimes there are rows or columns with zeros. And hold on, what do you do with that row or column? You choose any row, any column. They chose the first row just to be an example. Multiplied by. If you're going to be multiplying the entries in a row or the entries in a column by something, 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 if you have zeros, what's nice about zeros when you multiply that stuff?
It makes it 0.
So maybe I'll be choosing the rows or columns with zeros, because then when I multiply, they go away. Not everything, but some
What's a
things.
cofactor?
That's exactly the question you should be asking, because how on earth are we supposed to do this if we don't know what the capital C is? But first off, do you have the formula for us to go looking for who on earth the cofactors are? We need the cofactors to finish the formula. were writing this down but realizing it could have been any row or any column, they just chose the first row as an example. So we're choosing any row, any column, and we're multiplying by cofactors. And cofactors, as Alec just pointed out, we don't know what they are yet. But we're going to go find them. Cofactors. Co, with or together. Factors. I don't really know why that is the name. Other places in math, complementary. We have something else.
Conjunction.
Cofunction. I mean conjunction. Conjunction. Junction.
I know that from, do you know like that
Schoolhouse Rock.
Schoolhouse Rock. There's a song like co-functions or confunctions.
I'm coming back. I'm going to dual page it. Beep, beep. Beep, beep.
Minor.
Ready?
Mr. Minor.
Spelled a little differently. You all are minors. Okay, so.
Hey bro, I'm a minor, man.
Okay, we have other determinants. We have 3 by 3 or higher. We have, I know, focus. We have this formula that we need to figure out what cofactors are. And ready to answer the cofactor question, I have to first answer the minor question because a cofactor is taking the minors and alternating the signs. Well, but we need the minors to figure out the cofactors to alternate the signs. Okay, so who are the minors?
We are all minors.
Sure. Coming back. Okay, I get left out a lot. You guys are all minors. Minors.
I forgot what I was gonna say.
Do you guys at least in your head, if someone was to say minor leagues, minor as in your age,
Small.
minor, can we just think smaller? Can we think smaller? Is that okay? Like a subset or like an underneath or a, I don't want to go too derogatory, but like some sort of, okay. Check it. I have a 3 by 3 matrix. The minors are these little subgroups, kind of, you could think of them. These little sections of these smaller pieces of the bigger that are formed by ignoring an entire row and an entire column and saying, hey, what's left? Minors are formed by, check it, literally, in the words, ignoring a certain row and a certain column. So the minor for 1, 1 says ignore the first row, ignore the first column, what's left? Oh, okay, sure, I guess. So what would M12 be? Pause.
It would be 2.
Take the words. You're ignoring which row? First row, and ignoring what column? The second column. So if I ignored the first row and ignored the second column, wouldn't it be 3, 2, 4, 1? The minors are formed by ignoring a particular row and a particular column and seeing what's left. Ignoring a particular row, ignoring a particular column, and seeing what's left. So think, the minor of 1, 1 is what's underneath, what's within 1, 1. So what's underneath 1, 1? We'll have to ignore the first row, first column to see what's underneath, what's within. The minor is what's underneath, what's within. But if I ignore 1, 2, I'm ignoring the first row, second column. What's underneath, what's within? Well, it's going to be partially here and partially here. If I'm ignoring the first row, third column, then I'm going to be taking what's over here. Minors. I'm ignoring a certain row, ignoring a certain column, and seeing what's left.
Oh, I see.
Cofactors say, all right, get all the minors from a row, or get all the minors from a column, whichever row, whichever column you choose. Collect all the minors from a row, collect all the minors from a column, whatever you decide to choose, and then alternate the signs. However, the alternation of the signs is kind of particular. And so let me zoom in as to how those signs are meant to alternate. The signs are meant to alternate in that you always, start with a positive in the upper left-hand corner, and then you alternate. So you always think of whatever matrix you're starting with, a positive, negative, positive, and then you alternate down, you alternate across, and it should be alternating all the way around.
I like it. It's like a checkerboard.
So, if I was to try to collect all of the minors, ready?
All of the rub.
All the minors from the fourth row. What would I make all of their signs? fraction, what sign should I attach to them? Where's 4, 1?
Like all the way right.
Nope, not big enough. Nope. Isn't he right here?
No.
1. He's the 4th row, he's the 1st column.
Yeah.
So, 4, how many rows, and then how many columns, right? 4, 1 is right there. So what sign is that? Well, positive, negative, negative. He's going to have a negative in front. Where's 4, 2 going to come from? Right next door. Well, if that guy was negative, who's that guy going to be? Now, I can still have this number be a negative or be a positive. I'm just thinking opposite that, keep the same that. Opposite, ooh, this guy's going to be opposite. Opposite that. That's how I'm going to assign whether to keep it the same or keep it opposite. So for your brains, it's going to be a lot easier to think of the positive with cofactors, just saying keep it the same, and think of the negative as making it the opposite. So I'm not sure what the number is actually going to be. Maybe you're keeping the same a negative number. Maybe you're making the opposite of a negative number.
Oh my god.
Now, this is a lot of confusion until you see it applied. Can we go practice and do one? Please? I'm going to go ahead and zoom out. Okay, calm. Alec. Okay, as we move forward. Yeah, we could do this. Let's go. Now, hold on. We have a fast way to do a determinant, right? Main minus opposite. It's easy. Don't you guys already know what the determinant is if you think about it for 2 seconds? 0 minus 30.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
This is a Christian school for students.
We shouldn't be depicting our property. Okay, determinant. Negative 30. Does that make sense? Why? What's the main? 0. And what's the opposite? And what's 0 minus 30? Okay, we know what the determinant is. But remember, let me start with the little baby ones in order to work our way up to the harder ones. Okay. Here we go. What would my M11 be?
0?
You would be looking at 0, and you would be ignoring the first row, first column. What's underneath the first row, first column? Negative 4.
So is it not a matrix? It's just a number?
Well, in this one, because it's so small, it's just 1. But if I did it in something like this, it would be a whole matrix, right?
You have to put the word.
Because the minor says, ooh, did you guys catch that? It's an absolute value. Wait, absolute value. That's not absolute value. What is that?
It's
Minor.
Did you catch the word when you wrote it? Oh, awkward. You guys wrote it down too. Determinant. Huh. Okay, pause. But that's just the 1, 1 guy, right? So hold on. What would the 1, 2 guy be?
yeah, it would be 10.
Nope. 10 is the 1, 2 entry, but we ignore his row, ignore his column. What is underneath the 10? 3. How about 2, 1?
We back in negative 4.
What's there? 10. Now, I know this time it's above, but it's still like a subset underneath within kind of idea. How about 2, 2?
0.
See it? 0?
Wait, why did it say absolute value?
Because that's what a minor is defined to be. I don't want to say absolute value because it's technically determinate, not absolute. But that's the notation. I was going to say symbol, that's the notation.
Yeah, minor as well. Exactly.
Wait a minute. Cofactors. Cofactors say I'm going to take that and I'm going to assign a sign to it. So the cofactor says, hold on, take this guy, but go ahead and make him, wait a minute, where did he come from?
He came from
1, 1, right?
Yeah,
He came from 1, 1. Everything always starts with a positive.
Oh,
So, this guy is a positive. Okay, where did this guy come from?
Wait, how do you write that?
So you just write.
He came from 1, 2. What spot would this sign have? A negative.
So is that how you write the answer?
So the
That's how you make the cofactor.
wait, so the answer is the plus determinant -4?
Yep. Or keep the same the determinant of -4, and then make the opposite the determinant of 3. Who's in this spot then?
Good job, she.
Negative. And who's in this spot?
It can't be anything but 0, so it's not going to change.
Well, I know, but it would be a positive in that spot,
Yeah.
right? So, guys, what are the determinants of all of the little baby dudes? Oh, sorry, of little 1 by 1s. What are determinants of 1 by 1s?
Just what they are.
Yeah. Just what they are, right?
Oh my goodness.
So if I was to go ahead and try to use my formula, the determinant of A could be equal to, now here's where it gets a little weird, ready? It could be A11 times cofactor 11 plus A12 times cofactor 12, or it could be A21 cofactor 21 plus A22 cofactor 22. Or, now we could keep on going and use column 1, column 2. It just gets annoying after that. But we're using the first row, we're using the second row. We can use any row, any column, and here's what you would do. You would take whoever is in that spot of the row that you've chosen, and you would say, who are you? You're 0? Cool. I'm multiplying you by the cofactor, which is that negative 4, with keep the sign the same. And then I'm going to add to you, and I'm going to go over, because I'm using the first row. I'm going to go over and use now the second column of the first row and do the same thing and say, hey, who's in that spot? Well, the 10 is in that spot. And I'm going to ignore, and I'm going to say, okay, 10 times that cofactor, which is 3. But I need to keep that 3. Ooh, I need to make it opposite, so it's actually going to be a minus. And so I end up with 0 minus 30 is negative 30. Boop.
So you have to do all that work just for one?
Well, remember, this one asked you to list out the minors and cofactors. That's super annoying and tedious, and that's maybe like part of homework. But that's really just making sure that you know who these guys are. Normally, we're just going to go straight here.
Would you be able to find the C without?
The cofactor is just like a negative or positive.
Without writing them out, yeah, because you're going to do that idea of ignore, take it, and keep it the same or make it opposite. So you'll get into a rhythm of where you don't have to write it all out. What happens if we had used the second row instead? If we had used the second row instead, oh, that was way too big. We would have started with the second row first column. Hey guys, who's in that 2-1 spot?
3.
So 3 would be that number that's in front, and 3 would be multiplied by, well, wait a minute. Ignore the 3's row and the 3's column. Who's your little cofactor dude? It would be 3 times, ignore, 10. But isn't that a positive negative? Oh. Because you're using the cofactor from 2-1, which is negative 10. 3 is the little guy who started off, and then the cofactor is technically negative 10, but I just multiplied the negative on the outside. Because I didn't want it to look like 3 minus. But yeah, it might be a little better that I should have put 3 times negative 10 because the cofactor was negative. Plus, okay, what's in that second row, second column spot?
4.
So I take the 4, the negative 4. I ignore, and I say, oh, it's going to be negative 4 times, what's the cofactor? 0, and the sign is positive. Oh, still negative 30. What's going to happen if you do this process with any row or any column of any size matrix? You're going to get the determinant, and it's going to be the exact same thing. So how do we apply this to doing this guy?
Oh, jeez. Wait, so does it have 4 cofactors?
My formula says I can take any entire row or any entire column, and I can find the determinant. We only did more than one here to prove a point. This one, all I have to worry about is 3 different things, because I have 3 different entries in my rows, my columns. What am I trying to show you? What am I showing you when I circle the 0 and have these crossed out?
That's your A.
That's my A, 0. That's what I'm choosing to be my A. I could have chosen any row, any column. I'm just going through the first row. And I'm going to be taking the determinant of, which I don't think is going to be quite as fast as over there. So I'm just going to write it out. The determinant of who's left. And why am I going to put a little positive in front? Because it's in the first term spot. What's my next one going to have? A minus. Why? Because it's in the negative spot. And the last one's going to have a plus. Why? Because it's in the last guy's spot. If I had chosen the second row, I would do a minus, a plus, and then a minus. Or I should say a negative, a positive, and a negative. But wait a minute, who's the term in the first row, second column? See it? And what's left over when I ignore his row, his column? The minor? And who's in the third guy's spot? If I were to keep going. And when I ignore, yeah, you see it? Now it's not as easy as over there, like the determinant isn't just itself, but hold on, these are little 2x2s. How do we take determinants of little baby 2x2s? Wait a minute, don't waste your time. That's just what?
Nothing.
It's 0. 0 times anything is 0. That's why we love choosing a row or a column with a 0, because then it's like, less work. But, go to the next one.
What's negative 6, negative 4, negative 18?
Just main minus opposite.
Oh, what we can?
Main. 3 minus 8. Isn't that just negative 5? 2 by 2s? Caitlin, what's that?
No.
Oh, thank you. Main minus opposite. 3 minus 8, negative 5, right? Wait, are we good? Main minus opposite?
Yes.
Okay. So then if we go to the next one, hold on, what's our main minus opposite for this guy? 0 minus negative 4. Careful. So what do we think our determinant is? If you guys have this answer, throw this guy into your calculator, check it with the DET feature. And as you check it with the DET feature, I'm going to quickly show you the alternate way, the alternate way that can only be used with 3 by 3s. We have as our final answer, we think the determinant is 14. We think the determinant is 14. I'm going to show you a way to check only for 3 by 3s, sadly, without your calculator. Yeah.
Oh, no. Just for that.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Hey, bro. Yeah, it's 14.
Yeah. I remember we
Oh
had
my
to use
gosh,
different
it's
colors
that
when we
many.
I do red because we're taking away, and I do blue because we're adding. Maybe I should have done black and red and the black and red.
Wait, what?
So we have multiply,
I miss doing this.
multiply, 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 multiply.
What's happening?
Oh wait, I had to write this down.
I'm very.
Ooh.
Are you confused?
Did I not do this one?
I'm very confused. Miss.
0, 16, 0.
Oh yeah.
Negative.
That was
This is
negative
the
4.
express.
Oh.
I used this to
There you
do
go.
the,
Thank you.
the freeway.
This is the express. That's the scenic route.
No, she said the freeway and the scenic route.
What's 16
Fascinating.
minus 2?
14.
Dun, 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 dun,
Wait,
dun.
it's not 4? Wait, why is it 6?
But there are 4 numbers.
Why?
But the row has 5 numbers in it. Oh, there's 3 by 3.
Only for 3 by 3s can you set up and just rewrite the first 2 rows again to be able to do your main minus opposite. Only works for 3 by 3s, but if you like numbers, it might be faster than the other route for 3 by 3s alone. Sophia.
How come the first one isn't 4?
Oh, I went this way, so 0 and then 16 and then 0 when you multiply all 3.
Yeah.
And then this way would be, well, I went this way. 6 and then 0 and then I missed that, negative 4. What does it only work for, though?
3 by 3s. I prefer the scenic route, Miss Tina.
Oh, bummer. I'm going to pull up for you guys the section 8.3. The section 8.3 grading. I'm going to freeze the screen for just a moment or two in case you're still getting down an example. Are we done with this?
No.
Oh, I didn't even write it. No, I think it's due on Friday. But I do want you guys to be able to grade from last night, and I want to pass back your chapter 7 test. So if somebody has this totally written down and your homework is ready to grade, you can go back and grab correction papers for yourself and maybe, look out for a friend. Grab them for your group too. That'd be cool. We're in section 8.3 for our grading.
These are so cringe.
Woo! These ones are a bit exciting.
Caitlin, we should do something like this for Miss Leon.
Oh, we don't have her. We don't.
The little what is the little algebra guy in your head telling you?
Start grading.
You've only narrowed it down to 2 answers.
Oh, my turn, really?
Great, you narrowed it down.
Start grading. Although number 10 was supposed to be easy, it was just supposed to be yes, right? Like verify. Yeah, they both equal the identity.
Just say no.
Verify.
I did really bad on 10.
I got an 86.
I said 10. Oh, yeah, 15 out of 15. Finally.
Even though I put leaders into
Oh,
Even in honors one time, she marked third right answer. It was actually
Mark
wrong. Yeah, I was like, we marked it. And then
Or good.
5, 6, 7. Where are we down to? 1/4 points now? I think we're down to 1/4 points.
Oh my gosh, already.
Priyanka?
Oh, that's not good.
Oh, yeah, you were done.
Oh, I won't be doing this.
You got my grade?
What? No, I didn't get
I have a C.
Can I get one? She's not gonna need it.
Yeah, I was going to because I need that. My test book, my test credit.
What'd you get?
Okay, so those two right there. KJ?
I got an 82. Let's go.
Well, can you go with me? Because I don't know what you're talking about.
88. That's cool.
Tell me what you get.
What would you? Oh, are you serious?
Alright, second, if you want to know how many points you can get back, take your score, figure out how far you are from 100, and divide by 4. If you can do perfect corrections, that's how many you will get back. You guys have about a week, so let's do next Wednesday for those corrections. Let's do next Wednesday for those corrections. But speaking of corrections, let's correct last night's homework.
I know I'm not.
What happened, bro?
Oh.
Okay, I'm scrolling down because number 10 was easy. He was just a plug and chug. Number 18 and 20, you were actually looking for inverses. Yeah.
Wait, I believe you got like 90,
Yes.
97.
Yeah. How many percentage points?
Yeah, it's fine now. I'm gonna take this picture. I'm not disappointed. It's just because it happens every time. And it,
Who's so mean?
These people wrote big brain and okay boomer. They totally idiot. It's not fair.
So sorry. The people that were grading, who was grading that? Was Becca and Justin? Were they the ones grading it? I think Becca and Justin.
Of course it was Becca and Justin. Okay boomer. Stop.
I think you might have asked for that at some point in your life. Alright, so
I don't know what I did.
I could have tried to like white it out, but I was like, it wasn't for me.
Yeah, I don't know what I did.
What?
Emily, are you really complaining about a half off right now?
No, but I don't know what I have to correct.
Oh.
See, I did my work on the side. Yeah, that's still good.
Solving.
But I did solve it.
No, you did.
This
Which got you the half credit. You got the right answer. Hey guys, remember, corrections, you're correcting any place you lost points because only if you correct it can I give you the points back. Does that make sense? So Emily, if you want the points back from that. If you want points, which I warned you, I said, get the right answer. I said that. Just make sure that your work matches against all.
Why does my work back to that? Wait, but why did you say I get -3 if that's the only thing I got?
Because they were worth 6 points each.
Each one?
I think so.
You did no work.
What's it say? Is it 5 points each?
Don't work it.
You can look and see how many multiple choice you missed times 6. Yeah, 6 points each.
I got -3%.
Yeah.
That feels one recently was
You know what? I'm gonna
I'm
take
mad.
this.
Recount one, they just go through about 10
It's a
points.
good
What's
one.
the I didn't get anything wrong on this test.
1.5. Mucho gracias.
I don't get it.
All right, so for number 18, did you guys get 8 inverse? Is 1 1. 1 1. Whoops.
Terrible, but it's not like
It's just
I don't understand.
1 1 3 4.
Literally saying I don't write anything.
Guys, remember, think of it this way. I gave you multiple choice so that, and I even told you, I was like, hey, you could plug in every single answer choice and get the right answer blank, but you have to show the work that
But I showed
backs it up.
Stop complaining about your 97.
Literally, I'm like,
yeah, I'm a
Oh man, I got an A.
She's trying to stand on the principle. The problem is I specifically said if you just plug in, you'll only get half credit. So good job showing the plugging in, which got you half credit. And it makes my life a lot easier than giving you like a blank test where you just have to answer everything. But I do reserve the right to ask for work. You guys had the 8 inverse for number 20 down there below, -1364. You had to probably doubly augment that one. I'm not sure if they told you specifically that, but it would have been way easier than A, B, C, D, E, F. Doubly augment, so much easier. And the nice thing is, guys, the working calc chat is finally looking exactly like ours, except I don't do the subscript thing. It takes too much time.
She is making fun of me.
No.
We're grading homework right now, buddy. But if you want to talk about that, I will try to mentally, emotionally support you after class. Number 40. Ooh. Number 40. I mean, I guess you could have multiplied them in or you could have kept them out. Either way, the one over the determinant was a bit messy. You could have just multiplied by the reciprocal. Switch the main opposite, the opposite. There you go. It was a nice little 2 by 2. The formula was definitely the best way to go. And then you have a formula for number 50 also. But then remember that inverse can be used to solve when you multiply him by the coefficients. And that's what they were asking you to do. Once again, I know you might have gotten 1/2 and 1/3 from like substitution or elimination, but they were asking you to find the inverse and use it to solve. Snazzy application of inverses that we saw at the end of class yesterday. To some extent, I mean, I think in my head, well, I don't know, you still have to multiply 18 times 24 and 12 times 30. But I mean, for substitution elimination, it would have been messy anyway. I mean, well, I guess you could have multiplied by -2. I guess elimination wouldn't have been that hard. I guess it would have been that bad. 1/2, 1/3. Oh, and then we're done. We have about 3 minutes. Is there anything in particular you guys want to ask on homework, evens or odds? Priyanka.
Well, I number 20, and then maybe.
Do you want to? Did you? I mean, the nice thing is for these ones, unless you switch the order, your steps should have been the same as the book because they got the ones and the zeros and the ones and the zeros and the. Was there a place that yours stopped matching up?
Well, on the I got the second one,
Yeah.
and then on the third one, I didn't do like
The zeros.
I can't. It's hard to show you from here. So
But you had 2, 1, -2.
yeah, but then I added the third row to the first row to like cancel out the 2.
Which would have worked for making one of them 0. And I would have, if you're adding 0 plus 1 is 1, that would have been great for making the first row 1, 0. The problem is, what did you do to get the third row?
I think I multiplied this second row.
Oh, okay, times 2 and then added?
I think.
That's not totally bad, but then, yeah, the struggle is yours might look differently because you would have had 1, 0, -3, right?
Yeah,
-3, 2, 0, 1.
But like my answer was wrong because like I got the first 2 columns right, but my third column was different.
So that's what you got instead, right? 1, 0, -3, 2, 0, 1.
Yeah. No, 2, 0. I got. Sorry, what's after the 0?
1. Little thingy.
I got 2 zeros after.
Ah, careful. That's where you went wrong. Because if you add, you see it? The 1 plus a 0 would be 1. There you go.
Okay.
So that probably threw you off. And then what was the other one you wanted to say?
40. 40 was confusing.
40 is messy, but just remember with your fractions, you're multiplying across. So when they go to multiply, you can just set them up and then be like boom, boom. You have a common No, you don't. That would be 12. That would be 36. You would need to multiply this guy by what? 12. A 3 over 3 to get a common denominator, but it's still main minus opposite to get your determinant. I would just get common denominators to get it together to both be 36. So I'd have negative 836, which could reduce, but I'll get back to that. And then this one would be 15 and 9, 45 and 3, 135. So if you get your determinant to be, then remember 1 over in the formula flips it like a reciprocal, and then you just switch the main opposite to opposite, and then they brought it in. You could have stopped right here too, Ken. Just think 1 over that ends up just flipping the fraction.
Dang it. I got
Oh, see that's
bummer.
you could have stopped, but technically just think
What?
well, the next
I am
thing,
proud of my
9 goes
that
to
was
36, 4 goes into 36. I would have reduced all those fractions, and then I would have just multiplied.
I still have a 0.
Oh, yeah. After grading period?
I think it's
See if I've responded. If I haven't responded yet, I probably just haven't gotten back in. Because there was the end of the grading period for everyone, and then I've been grading a lot of this since then, so I haven't gotten back in. But feel free to comment again. I get an email every time I do. I just know I have lots of little comments I haven't resolved.
I should know what it is. It's a while ago. Yeah, this one.
Have I resolved? Oh, good. I haven't answered yet, so I haven't gone in to fix it yet. You're good.
Thank you.
Yeah.